Hi, everyone. I'm Jeff McKerley. It is story time. It is 5 p.m. We are live, and I'm so glad to be here again this week. I wish that Heidi could be with me, but she started pre-planning at school this week, and so it's been a crazy hectic week for her, so I'm giving her the time off. So I'm going to go ahead and get started because I have four stories. Three of them are relatively short, so I'm going to start as soon as possible. So, first and foremost, this one is called Are You My Mother? This is a Dr. Seuss kind of book. It's short and sweet, so we're going to get started. Hopefully I can give you... I'm sorry if there's a little glare. I've got my new ring light going on, so it might glare thing. So I'm sorry. I'll try to keep it from glaring, but there's no promises. Hi, Jill Hames. I'm so glad you're here. Are You My Mother? Are You My Mother? Written and illustrated by P.D. Eastman. A mother bird sat on her egg. The egg jumped. I must get something for my baby bird to eat, she said. So away she went. Inside the egg jumped. It jumped and jumped and jumped until out came a baby bird. Where is my mother? He said. He did not see her anywhere. I will go and look for her, he said. Out of the nest he went. Down, 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 plop. The baby bird could not fly, but he could walk. Now I will go and find my mother, he said. Hi, Jeffrey Jackson. Are you my mother? The baby bird asked the kitten. The kitten just looked and looked. It did not say a thing. Are you my mother? The baby bird asked the hen. No, said the hen. Are you my mother? The baby bird asked a dog. I am not your mother. I am a dog, said the dog. Are you my mother? The baby bird asked a cow. How could I be your mother? Said the cow. I am a cow. The baby bird stopped to think. The kitten and the hen were not his mother. The dog and the cow were not his mother. I have a mother, said the baby bird. I know I do. I will find her. I will. I will. Just then the baby bird saw a big thing. You are my mother, he said. The big thing said, snort. Oh, no, said the baby bird. You are not my mother. You are a scary snort. The snort lifted the baby bird up, up, up. Then something happened. The snort put the baby bird right back in the tree. The baby bird was home. Just then the mother bird came back. I know who you are, said the baby bird. You are not a kitten, or a hen, or a dog. You are not a cow, or a snort. You are a bird, and you are my mother. The end. Isn't it cute? The snort put the baby bird back in the nest. The snort. Love that. All right. So, you never know. The big bad snort can help you when you least expect it, right? All right, so the next story I have is The Worst Helper Ever. It's a little more advanced than that one for the Little Littles, but this one is The Worst Helper Ever by Richard, I'm going to say, Scarry. Richard Scarry, right there. That's what I'm going to say. Like starry with a C, right? All right, so It's about pigs. Wake up, Farmer Pig! It's time to go to work. I should just do that after every pig sentence. What a busy day. You need a helper, Farmer Pig. He's got his foot caught right there. Hello, Charlie Cat. Are you busy? No, I am not busy, Farmer Pig. Oh, hi, Catherine. I'm so glad that Liam loves Are You My Mother. I love it too. Can you help me, Charlie Cat? Yes, Farmer Pig. I can drive your truck. Oh dear, not that way, Charlie Cat. Drive over the water, not through it. Charlie Cat, you are the worst helper ever. Hi, Veronica Durr. I'm so glad you stopped by to say hi. But Farmer Fox is a good helper. Oh dear, be careful, Charlie Cat. No more mistakes. He just drove through the gate and through the hanging laundry. Silly. Can you help me in the barn, Charlie Cat? Yes, I can milk the cow, Farmer Pig. Oh dear, not that way, Charlie Cat. Keep the milk in the pail. Don't spill it. Can you help me in the garden, Charlie Cat? Yes, I can water the garden, Farmer Pig. Oh dear, not that way, Charlie Cat. Water the garden, not the kitchen. Please sit down, Charlie Cat. It's time to eat. No more mistakes now. Let me clear the table, Farmer Pig. Oh dear, not that way, Charlie Cat. I'm gonna need some water after this. I am taking you back to town, Charlie Cat. But this time, I'll drive. And look what happened. We all make mistakes, don't we, Farmer Pig? So Farmer Pig drove through the water instead of over the water. Just goes to show you, you just can't be judgmental about people and the way they do things, right? Everybody has their own special way of doing things. Separate than special, both. All right, so today, it's only 10 after. What? Things are so quick. So today, there was a huge thunderstorm here where I live, and so it reminded me of a book that Arden loved. And this one has been through a little bit of toddlerism, if you know what I mean. So some of the pages are torn and ripped and taped back together, so they don't quite look great. But that's okay. It just means that it was a story that she liked a lot, and so she was constantly looking at the pictures in this book, which I love. So this one's called "Big Rain Comin'." Hope there's no glare. There we go. "Big Rain Comin'" by Katrine Germain, illustrated by Bronwyn Bancroft. And I love these pictures. They're so colorful. Big rain coming. Isn't that great? On Sunday afternoon, Old Stephen nodded to the dark clouds spreading in the south. Look at this ripped page with the tape. Big rain coming, he said. Look at that picture. But on Monday, there was no rain. You see that picture? See him sitting there? The sun. The night was so warm, Rosie's kids dragged their beds outside to maybe feel some breeze while they slept. Ooh, it must have been really hot. On Tuesday, there was still no rain. The panting dogs at Roberta's place dug themselves dusty holes to keep cool. See them right there? The dogs have dug holes. Wednesday came, and still no rain. The children swam in the billabong after school. The water was warm and still. Look at that picture. It's a billabong. Isn't that a great word, billabong? By Thursday night, there was still no rain. The fat green frogs huddled around the leaky tap on the rainwater tank. There's the froggy. Ooh, right there. Then on Friday evening, the thick gray clouds over the hills were echoing with thunder. So it's Friday. Big rain coming, said Stephen. But there was still no rain. On Saturday, there was rain. Look at them dancing in the rain. Have you ever danced in the rain? Wonderful, cool, wet rain. Isn't that just a beautiful book? I love it. I love it. I love the pictures. They're so colorful, and I could just feel the cool, wet rain, couldn't you? I love it. I love it. I didn't go out in the rain today, though. All right, so I'm to my final book, and this is one of my favorites, and I happened upon it today, and I couldn't resist it. I just had to read this one. It's so fun, and and because I do theater, it's even better. So this one is called Swine Lake by James Marshall and Maurice Sendak. Swine Lake. What do you think it's about? One wintry afternoon, a lean and mangy wolf found himself an unfamiliar part of town. "I don't know where I am," he said, "but it's important to explore new places and expand one's horizons. I might discover all sorts of tasty morsels." Two young squirrels rounded the corner and scampered past. Look at that poor old dog," one of them said. "He's on his last legs." and the squirrels were gone. "Huh!" snorted the wolf. "Lucky for them, I'm not so swift as I used to be. Squirrel makes a superb afternoon snack." Winding his ratty scarf around his neck, he continued on down the street. "Old dog, indeed," he muttered. In the middle of the next block, the wolf's nose began to twitch uncontrollably. A delicious aroma permeated the air. "Well, I declare," he cried. "I think I smell... Oh, my goodness, could it be? Yes, that's it all right. I'd recognize that smell anywhere." He looked up and down the street, but there were no pigs about. "I don't see them," said the wolf, "but they're somewhere in the vicinity, that's for sure." A theater marquee on the opposite side of the street attracted his attention. "Do my eyes deceive me?" gasped the wolf. "Does that say what I think it says?" Stepping across the street, he looked up at the marquee, which spelled out in large letters, "Swine Lake, the Bolshoi Ballet." Many photographs of the production were displayed outside the theater. Really, it was unbelievable. There were pigs in every picture, leaping, swirling, bowing, juicy pigs. The wolf's heart was racing. His paws were trembling. "Scrumptious! Scrumptious!" he exclaimed, dabbing drops of saliva from his lips. As he studied the photographs, the wolf was oblivious to his surroundings. Suddenly, he realized that a large crowd had gathered on the sidewalk. Sleek limousines were gliding up to the curb, and well-dressed hogs were emerging and making their way into the theater. The wolf pulled up his collar and tried to make himself as inconspicuous as possible. Soon, the aroma of pig, thinly disguised by French perfume, was making him swoon. Losing all self-restraint, he decided to waste no more time and pounce on the nearest pig, but several police officers were milling about. "Not a good idea," he said to himself. "Besides, what I really want is inside the theater." He observed that everyone entering the theater presented a ticket at the door. "I'll have to purchase one," he said. But when he looked into his coin purse, he saw that he was completely without funds. "They'll never let me in without a ticket," he cried in despair. Oh, I'm guessing that's how he cried in despair, being a wolf and all. At that moment, a limousine rolled up in front of the theater and a fat old sow squeezed herself out onto the sidewalk. Squinting through her lorgnette, she said to the wolf, "Did you need a pair of tickets? My husband and I are tied up this evening and are unable to attend. He hates the ballet, you know, and will find any excuse. They're excellent seats, very near the stage." The wolf, who couldn't believe his luck, snatched the tickets from the old sow and pushed his way into the crowd. "Well, I never," said the sow. "Hi, Allie." At the theater door, the wolf presented his ticket and stepped inside. Had the ticket taker been more observant, he would have noticed the long claws, and much that follows could have been avoided. Once inside, and he had never been in a real theater before, the wolf looked around with considerable interest. Everywhere he turned, pigs and hogs were standing about and chatting excitedly. Although some of them were wearing perfectly outlandish clothes, the others seemed not to take the slightest notice. The wolf moved easily through the crowd. "They'll notice me soon enough," he thought. There he is. An usher, dreamily lost in a book, escorted him to his seat. "Best seats in the house," she said. "You have a box all to yourself." The wolf slipped into his seat and was decidedly pleased. "It's only a short leap onto the stage," he said. As the orchestra in the pit was tuning up, his stomach grumbled in anticipation. "I must remember not to gobble my food," he said. Soon the theater was filled to capacity. As the lights began to dim, a hush fell over the audience. It was a magical moment, and the wolf held his breath. A burst of applause greeted the conductor as he made his way through the orchestra. Mounting the podium, he bowed to the audience and beamed into the spotlight. The applause swelled. The conductor turned, nodded to his musicians, and lowered his baton. The music began, and the curtain rose on an empty stage flooded with light. "Where are the pigs?" said the wolf. At that moment, from each side of the stage, dancing pigs appeared. They were wearing brightly colored costumes and were extremely happy about something. The wolf's mouth dropped open. The pigs were even plumper and juicier than he had imagined. "Photographs don't do them justice," he gasped. He began to consider his selection. Of course, he would eat them all, but why not have the juiciest first? He leaned forward to get a better look at the entrancing spectacle, but as his eyes darted from one dancer to another, he noticed that some sort of story was being told. "What's going on?" he said. "Someone seems to be getting married." On the stage, the pigs were dancing about on their toes and tossing rose petals in the air. The wedding couple made an entrance and did a little dance, which was well received by the audience. The mangy wolf, who couldn't wait a moment longer, decided to take action. He rose from his seat. Suddenly, from the back of the stage, a ferocious monster appeared and scattered the terrified wedding party in all directions. Executing some thrilling leaps, the monster snatched the pig bride and carried her off. The bridegroom fainted, and the curtain came down to tremendous applause. "Gosh," said the wolf. He remained in his seat during intermission and studied his program. "I'll make my big move in Act 2, he said. After a quarter of an hour, that's 15 minutes, the lights in the theater blinked on and off, and the audience hurried back to their seats. Act 2 had always been a big favorite. Act 2, Scene 1 took place at the monster's cave. When the curtain rose, the monster was seen busily preparing a boiling kettle in which to cook the unhappy pig. "This is thrilling," said the wolf, who was closely following the action on stage. Just as the monster was about to toss the pig into the kettle, an old crone appeared at the door of the cave and danced in. She offered the monster a nectarine, and no sooner had the monster nibbled on the nectarine than he fell asleep. There's the old crow. Suddenly the old crone threw off her cape and mask. It was the handsome bridegroom come to rescue his bride. The two pigs did a dance of joy and hurried out of the cave. It was clear from the exciting music that the monster was in hot pursuit of the pig couple and that he was fast approaching. The pigs, unable to swim, prepared to meet their fate and did a sad little dance. At this moment, from out of the lake, the enchanted pig appeared, gathered them up in her velvet wings, and carried them across to safety. The dancers took many well-deserved bows, and the show was over. The wolf staggered out of the theater in a trance. He had completely forgotten to make his move. He wasn't even hungry anymore. Theater can change lives, can't it? Been up to no good, I imagine, grumbled his landlady on the stairs. The mangy wolf did not seem to hear. Who did not seem to hear, went up to his bare attic room, crawled into bed, and took a long nap. He dreamed of dancing pigs. That night, he did something he'd never done before. He broke into his piggy bank. Then he tore down the stairs and ran all the way to the theater, where he spent his last penny on an excellent seat for the evening performance of Swine Lake. What do you think will happen? When the curtain went up, the mangy wolf found himself absorbed in the story all over again. The bride and groom made their entrance and did their little dance. Now comes the good part with the monster, said the wolf. The music soared. Suddenly, without knowing why, the wolf sprang out of his seat, leapt over the railing, sailed right over the orchestra pit and onto the stage. The audience gasped, and the orchestra kept right on playing. Carried away with the music, the wolf began to swirl about the stage. The pig, dancing the part of the bride, was confused. "Who are you?" she said in a stage whisper. "Just keep dancing," the wolf whispered back. There they are, dancing their dance. The audience, too, was somewhat confused. "They've changed the steps," someone complained. At the proper moment, the wolf picked up the frightened bride and carried her off stage. The bridegroom fainted and the curtain fell. The applause was tremendous. "Such an interesting interpretation," someone said. Dropping the pig ballerina backstage, the wolf ran past the startled stage manager, out the stage door, and down the street. He did not stop running until he reached home. "Quite out of breath, sir," said his landlady. "Leading a life of crime, no doubt." "You wouldn't understand," said the wolf. The next day, in a newspaper he found on a park bench, the mangy wolf read a review of Swine Lake. "Ballet extra, Swine Lake swell. A surprise guest appearance in the first act was the highlight of the evening, although the dancer, disguised as a wolf and not the traditional monster, was a bit on the clumsy side. He lent a note of authenticity. It was almost as if a real wolf had appeared on the stage, and that spectacular leap from a box seat was a nice touch. Bravo." The wolf tore out the review and shoved it in his pocket. "A real wolf, indeed," he said, and he executed a couple of flashy dance steps. Whoa! Woo! And that's it. Isn't that weird and wonderful? How the wolf's life was transformed by watching a ballet. And he wanted to eat those pigs and he didn't. I just love that story. Swine Lake. Isn't it fun? I think the illustrations are lovely as well. So that, my friends, it's 5:30. Look how that all happened perfectly. It's 5:30 and story time is over until next Wednesday. Hi, Michelle Martin. Did you just get here? Anyway, I'm so glad that you joined me. If you haven't had a chance um, to hop over to the Atlanta Artist Relief Fund page, or you might be here already. They do some great work for artists in need, and you don't even have to be an artist in need. You can be anybody in need, and they will help you get food on your table and medical help and unemployment insurance advice and all kinds of things. So we certainly love the Atlanta Artist Relief Fund and everything that they're doing. And I'm so glad that you were here this Wednesday. We'll be here next Wednesday at 5 p.m. And hopefully Heidi will be with me that day and we can read some more of our books together. So I'm so glad you joined me, friends, and I'll see you next Wednesday. Bye, everybody.